Hello everyone, my name is 99 Sniper. I'm coming here live on Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Last time we began playing as this new game of the beginning of Solid Snake and Raiden. In other words, this is the story of Solid Snake's father, Big Boss. And fortunately, yeah. However, we managed to pass some guards without getting caught and managed to knock them out with some tranquilizer guns, but unfortunately that was it. However, and there's nothing else much to say, but we're also rescuing a man named Sokolov, and that's pretty much it. But anyways, with that said, let's begin and continue. Alright.
Freeze. Speak.
Press the action button in front of a drum barrel.
Speak.
Bastard!
Freeze. Speak.
The others,
Answer me.
if you want to learn more, take a look at the survival viewer map.
Speak.
Let me go! Huh? The enemy's here! What's wrong?
Freeze! Speak!
In this area, there's a weapon.
Speak!
If you want to learn more, take a look at the
Answer me! Freeze! Speak!
basic actions under special comes in handy.
Answer me!
Bastard!
Freeze! Speak!
Throw something at the northeast window.
Speak! Let go of me!
You must be Sokolov.
Are you one of Volgin's men? You'll never get it from me.
No. I'm a CIA agent. I've come to escort you back to the other side of the Iron Curtain.
You're CIA?
Yeah. I was sent by Major Zero, the man who got you out 2 years ago.
Zero?
I have a message from him.
What is it?
He said to tell you sorry for being so late.
Did he now?
What does it mean?
It means he's a man of his word. But we've got no time for this. You have to get me out of here before they arrive.
Who's they?
Colonel Volgin of Gru. You in the West know him as Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt? Never heard of him.
He's a member of the Army's extremist faction, a man who seeks to seize control of the motherland. Ever since the Cuban Missile Crisis 2 years ago, Khrushchev has been pursuing a policy of peaceful coexistence with the West. Despite resistance and criticism from hawks in the army and the provincial authorities, Khrushchev has managed to suppress the opposition so far. But the failure of his agricultural policies has put him in a precarious position. And on top of that, the tragedy last November.
President Kennedy's assassination.
Precisely. In a sense, Khrushchev has lost his biggest partner, and his power base is rapidly crumbling away. A certain group is plotting to use this opportunity to seize power by rallying the anti-government forces, overthrowing Khrushchev, and installing Brezhnev and Kosygin in his place. The mastermind behind this plot is Colonel Volgin of the GRU. He has control over another secret weapons research facility much like this one, OKB-812, known as the Granin Design Bureau, and is using it to further his plans. But that is not enough to satisfy him. Now he's plotting to seize the secret weapon I have been developing here and use it as leverage in his bid for power. The intelligence says that they are going to make their move during the test.
Then, the soldiers outside.
Exactly. They wouldn't need that many men just to keep me inside. Their orders were to prevent Colonel Volgin from capturing me. Even if it meant killing me in the process, or so it would seem. Volgin will come. I'm sure of it. You must get me out of here before then.
Leave it to me.
By the way, your Russian is superb. Where did you learn to speak it?
From my mentor.
Is that so? America's truly a frightening country.
Having second thoughts?
No. I have no love for this place. Let's go.
Major, this is Snake. Sokolov is safe with me. He's doing fine. No injuries.
Good work, Snake. Now hurry up and get Sokolov to the recovery point. We'll rendezvous with you there.
Roger.
What about the sentries?
No one spotted me.
I see.
What about the boss?
We lost contact with the boss some time ago.
What happened?
It's probably just a weak signal. Just hurry and get Sokolov out of there.
Freeze!
So this is the legendary boss.
Huh?
Huh? We meet at last.
You're from the Ocelot unit of Spetsnaz. Huh. What's a Gru soldier doing here?
Soldier?
He's the Ocelot commander.
Ha! That's Major Ocelot to you. And don't you forget it.
Sokolov is ours. Now get out of here.
And Ocelot never lets his prey escape.
What?
I can't say it feels good to kill a comrade, even if it is for the Gru.
Sokolov, take cover.
Huh. You're not the boss, are you?
Gru operatives!
What is that stance? Huh. That gun. If you're not the boss, then die.
Major! Leave it! Shoot the other one! Whoa!
You ejected the first bullet by hand, didn't you? I see what you were trying to do. But testing a technique you've only heard about in the middle of battle wasn't very smart. You were asking to have your gun jam on you. Besides, I don't think you're cut out for an automatic in the first place. You tend to twist your elbow to absorb the recoil. That's more of a revolver technique.
You filthy American dog!
But that was some fancy shooting. You're pretty good.
Pretty good.
Major, do you read me?
I read you. Snake, you all right?
I've run into a few snags. These guys were after Sokolov, too. Apparently they were taking orders from a GRU colonel named Volgan.
A GRU colonel?
Part of an internal Soviet power struggle, according to Sokolov. Something between the KGB and GRU. Between Khrushchev's supporters and Volgan's.
Sokolov was being guarded by the KGB and hunted by GRU? Snake, it sounds like this could be even hotter than Cuba.
I don't like it. Something about the whole thing stinks.
I agree. You'd better hurry.
Sokolov ran off by himself, but I'll catch up to him.
We're counting on you. Snake, stay alert. The KGB and GRU both have their sights set on Sokolov. GRU is a military espionage outfit, the intelligence wing of the Soviet Defense Ministry's General Staff Office. It competes with the KGB, which is under the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and the two are always watching each other.
Never let the left hand know what the right hand is doing.
Exactly. Now, added to that rivalry, there's a vicious power struggle going on between the Khrushchev faction and the anti-Khrushchev faction.
So Khrushchev is using the KGB, and Volgan and the anti-Khrushchev forces are using the GRU?
That's the idea. The two factions are fighting over Sokolov. We're in an extremely dangerous situation here.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Get Sokolov out of there safely. He must not be turned over to the KGB or to the GRU. Sokolov took off in the direction of the rope bridge. Get after him. Hurry!
Major, have you been able to contact the boss?
No.
You really think it's bad reception?
We're looking into it.
Major.
Snake, you've got more important things to worry about than contacting the boss. Right now, Sokolov is out there wandering around the jungle alone. What are you going to do if he gets caught by the enemy? We're still looking into why we lost contact with the boss. I'll let you know as soon as we find anything out. In the meantime, it's your job to find Sokolov and get him to safety. Got it?
The gauge below your life... By the way, Snake,
What?
what was that little lecture back there?
Lecture?
You were instructing the GRU commander, weren't you? Something about the first round or his hand?
Yeah.
What was that supposed to mean?
Well, whenever he put a new clip in his gun, he'd always load the first round by hand, whether there was a round left in the chamber or not. It's a technique they teach in the Middle East. By making sure there's always a round in the chamber, you eliminate the risk of pulling the trigger with nothing to fire. He must have heard about it from someone or read it somewhere. In any case, he probably wanted to try it out for himself. And he was obviously motivated by vanity to show off his new technique. That's when you make mistakes. The battlefield is an unforgiving place. The only techniques you can rely on are the ones you've mastered through experience and practice.
Uh-huh. And what were you saying about him being more suited to revolvers?
When he fired, he was bending his elbow sharply to avoid the recoil. It looked like he wasn't aware he was doing it, but that habit can be either a fatal flaw or a gift.
What do you mean?
Automatic weapons use recoil to operate, so if you don't let the recoil hit you, it interferes with the operating cycle of the gun. Basically, he shouldn't be trying to avoid the impact like that. But with a revolver, there's no need to let the recoil hit you. Just the opposite. Avoiding the recoil lets you reduce the strain on your hand and arm. That kid might just be handy with a high-caliber revolver.
Handy? Are you listening to yourself?
What do you mean?
He's the enemy. Why are you giving him advice? Snake.
I don't know. For some reason, I couldn't help but point it out to him.
Snake, are you all right?
Yeah.
That area is home to the Sunda whistling thrush. The Sunda whistling thrush is a bird native to Java and Sumatra. It's distinguished by its large blue body and long beak. It really stands out in the forest. If you're aiming to catch one alive, use the tranquilizer gun.
Got it. So...
How does it taste?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know.
The guide doesn't say. I guess there's no reason you couldn't eat them.
Oh, I see.
But it's nice and plump, so I'm sure it'd make a hearty meal.
That's a good point.
You okay? Those men were from the Ocelot unit.
Spetsnaz?
Yes. The best crew has to offer. They're coming for me. I'm finished!
Calm down. I'll get you out of here, I promise. And we've got some of the best backup we could ask for.
Look.
That's what they were making you build?
Yes. The Shagohod. The treading behemoth. A tank capable of launching nuclear IRBMs.
It can launch nuclear missiles from that kind of terrain?
Oh, yes. And without support from friendly units.
A nuclear-equipped tank capable of operating solo. Is that thing finished?
No. This is only the end of Phase 1. It won't be truly finished until we complete Phase 2.
Phase 2?
The weapon's true form. If it is completed and the Colonel gets his hands on it, it will mean the end of the Cold War.
The end of the Cold War?
Yes. And then the Age of Fear will truly begin.
A world war.
I had no choice but to cooperate. I didn't want to die. I wanted to see my wife and child again in America. Please, take me to America, quickly. They cannot complete it without my help.
Got it. Let's go.
Good work, Jack.
What are you doing here?
Sokolov comes with me.
Hornets?
My friends, let us fight together again.
I have waited long for this day.
We will fight with you once more.
Welcome back, boss.
Now that all 5 of us are together, it's time we go to the depths of hell itself. It's raining blood. Is he crying?
Kuwabara, Kuwabara. Ah, what a joyful scene.
Colonel Vogan.
Welcome to my country. And to my unit.
Boss, what is this?
I'm defecting to the Soviet Union. Sokolov is a little gift from my new hosts.
Recoilless nuclear warheads. These will make a fine gift for me.
This can't be happening.
Who is he? Another one of your disciples? Are we taking him with us?
No, this one is still just a child. Too pure for us Cobras. He has not yet found an emotion to carry into battle.
What are you talking about?
Think you can pull the trigger?
He's seen my face. We can't let him live. If Khrushchev finds out about this, we're finished. He must die.
Wait. He's my apprentice. I'll take care of him. Jack, you can't come with us.
The new blood has been rejected. Are we done here?
Now, onto Sokolov's research facility.
Shagohod is ours.
Drift away. My place is with them now.
Snake, can you hear me?
Yeah. Just barely.
Snake, listen to me. You need emergency medical treatment. Can you move? You've got to get those wounds treated. Hang in there. All right, let's get you fixed up. Paramedic?
Okay, Snake. Just relax and it'll all be over before you know it. Stay with me. I've seen people in worse shape before. Think you can handle it?
Major. The boss. She's defected.
We'll talk about that later. First, we've got to get you patched up.
Okay, here we go. First, open the survival viewer with the start button. If you select cure, you can start the treatment. Healing is divided into treatment using medicine with the item window button and surgical treatment using the weapon window button. Your injuries include a fractured left elbow and rib bone, and lacerations on your upper arms, right elbow, and abdomen. They need to be fixed using surgical treatment. Move the healing cursor with the left stick to the affected part of your body. Once you've selected the affected area, hold the weapon window button and use the left stick to select the medical item, and then press the enter button. With this method, you can use items to help your recovery process. To treat a bone fracture, first secure the affected area with a fastener and then wrap it in bandages. That should do it. For lacerations, you'll need disinfectant to clean the wound, sutures to stitch it up, styptic to slow the flow of blood, and bandages to wrap the wound. If you do everything I mentioned, the wound should heal completely. Understood?
Yeah.
Stay with me. Go into the survival viewer and treat those wounds. job, Snake.
We're coming to get you now. Just stay where you are. We'll drop a recovery balloon. Can you set it up?
Shagohod.
Excellent. A great success. Thanks to the boss and her cobras, I have both Sokolov and the Shagohod.
What are we going to do with the girl?
Who is she?
Apparently she's Sokolov's woman.
She's a nice catch. I'll take her. Not so fast, my dear. A kiss of death?
Are you KGB?
We may be able to use her. She has spunk.
Shall we take her back to the base?
Perhaps we should. We have no further use for Sokolov's research facility. I think it's time I gave this marvelous new toy a try.
Colonel, even if they are our enemies, they're still our countrymen.
But it won't be me that pulled the trigger. It'll be our friend, the American defector.
You're going to nuke your fellow Russians?
Remember the Alamo.
Colonel!
I hope you guys enjoyed that, but unfortunately that was copyright. So yeah.
Currently flying over the Arctic Ocean, altitude 30,000 feet, approaching Soviet airspace. Arriving at the designated drone launch point. Drone oil pressure and voltage are nominal. Payload oxygen supply is nominal. Power supply to payload antifreeze system shows no problems. No gusts. All systems go for drone detachment.
Snake, we can't risk a halo jump this time around. Airspace security has gotten tighter since we were last here. We can't get as close to the ground as we did during the Virtuous mission. So instead, we'll be using one of our newest weapons. Snake, you're being given an honor on par with Alan Shepard. This is our last chance. Show your patriotism. If you fail, you'll be back in a hospital bed again, waiting for the firing squad. So how does it feel to be a patient in one of the most advanced ICUs in the world?
Would you do me a favor and tell the suits about visiting hours? I'll never get better with them assaulting me day and night with their questions.
Must be part of the top brass's inquiry.
More like an interrogation. According to them, I'm a traitor and an accomplice to the boss's defection.
They're just looking for a scapegoat.
Does that mean they're after you, too?
Let's just say neither one of us is going to be made a national hero out of this.
Does this mean Fox is going to die?
No. This fox is still one step ahead of the hounds. The reason I came to see you today, Jack, it's time for Fox to clear its name.
What are you talking about?
The situation has changed. We've still got a chance to come out of this one alive.
Yeah, what kind of chance?
Don't get too excited. Here, have a cigar. It's Cuban. This morning, I had a meeting with the CIA.
They decided when they're going to execute us?
No. Something even bigger. Yesterday, the White House received an unexpected call.
President Johnson?
Yes, I hear you, Mr. Chairman.
It was a hotline call from Khrushchev to President Johnson.
From the head of the Soviet Union?
That's right.
A few days ago, one of our country's main design bureaus, OKB 754, was destroyed in a nuclear explosion. At about the same time, our anti-aircraft radar picked up a signature that appeared to come from one of your military aircraft. Does any of this sound familiar to you? In retaliation, I have placed our armed forces on secondary alert. Depending on your response, I may be left with no choice but to order the military to maximum alert and unleash Armageddon. With the help of your predecessor, I was able to survive the Cuban incident. But my power is not as great as it once was. If I am to survive this crisis, I must have your full cooperation.
I should have contacted you myself. Did you know that one of our soldiers defected to your country a week ago?
No.
So you haven't heard then. The man who arranged the defection was a GRU colonel by the name of Yevgeny Borosovich Volgin.
Volgin? Of the Brezhnev faction. Go on. Who is the soldier?
Her name is the Boss. She's a living legend. During World War II, she was the one who led us to victory in that war. In Russia, you know her as Voyevoda.
You mean the Boss? The mother of your special forces?
Yes, that's the one. And she took 2 miniature nuclear shells along with her.
The Boss took 2 miniature nuclear shells?
I'm afraid so. I believe they were a gift for her new hosts. The Davy Crockett Atomic Battle Group delivery system was completed 2 years ago. But serious problems were found with the launcher's range and precision. Although they were mass-produced, they've never been deployed in battle.
But Sokolov's research facility was completely wiped out. The whole area is polluted.
I can only offer you my deepest condolences over this terrible tragedy.
So, the boss, with Colonel Volgin's help, stole 2 experimental nuclear shells and took them with her as gift when she defected. Then, shortly thereafter, Sokolov's design lab, a top-secret military research facility, was destroyed by one of these weapons. Am I right so far?
Yes, that's correct.
And the American government denies any involvement in the affair. Is that right as well?
That's correct. We were not involved in any way.
Then what was a U.S. military aircraft doing on our radar screen? It was clearly in violation of our airspace. And yet you say it was not acting under your orders.
That's correct.
You expect me to believe that this was all the work of a single soldier?
I don't know what else to tell you.
The Army insists that this is all a ploy on your part.
I've said it once, and I'll say it again. Our government had nothing to do with it.
And I would like dearly to believe you. However, I'm afraid my power over the military has weakened since the Cuban incident. I will need some kind of proof that this was not the action of the American government. You have 1 week. You must catch the boss yourselves and recover the remaining nuclear device. Then, you must find some way to prove your innocence.
Prove our innocence?
Yes, preferably something painful. Prove to me that this is not merely another one of your tricks.
The boss should be close to Colonel Volgin. How about a little co-action?
I would not expect too much if I were you. The political situation here is unstable. And Colonel Volgin is a member of the Brezhnev faction, which seeks to topple my government. 1 week. You have only 1 week. And if it is not too much to ask, do something about Volgin as well.
What is that supposed to mean?
Nothing. It means nothing. Call it a modest gentleman's agreement to ensure our continued relationship.
What if we can't prove our innocence?
Then I will be unable to restrain the military. I will be ousted, and they will seek their revenge.
A nuclear attack on the United States?
I leave the disposal of this situation entirely to your discretion, Mr. President.
Disposal?
If you fail, it will mean the beginning of a new world war.
To put it simply, in order to avoid a full-scale nuclear conflict, we have to prove that America was not involved in that explosion.
And eliminating the boss ourselves will prove America's innocence?
Right. The higher-ups have decided that you're the only one capable of pulling this off. You were her last apprentice. Screw this one up, and we'll both be 6 feet under. There's no choice.
Are the Russians going to be helping us?
The KGB has promised to lend us one of their communications satellites so that you and I can talk to each other.
That's it?
They've also put us in touch with a couple of insiders.
Insiders?
There was a defection in September 1960. Do you remember it?
You mean the 2 NSA codebreakers who went over to the Soviet Union?
Precisely. Since then, they've apparently been training with the KGB in exactly this kind of situation. Their code names are Adam and Eva. I've been told that Adam has infiltrated Volgin's ranks. I've also arranged for him to provide you with an escape route. You'll need to rendezvous with him when you get there.
Control. Unidentified aircraft detected. Altitude 30,000 feet. It's fast. Estimated airspeed exceeding Mach 3. Bearing south. I'm about to lose it.
This is Snake. Do you read me?
Loud and clear. Glad to see you landed safely.
I got blown pretty far off target.
Snake, let's go over your mission objectives one more time. Rescue Sokolov. Find out what's happened to the Shagohod, then destroy it. And finally, eliminate the boss.
Eliminate the boss?
This mission will be codenamed Operation Snake Eater.
Because I'll be taking on the boss in our Cobra unit, right?
Don't forget about Colonel Volgin.
I'm not a hired killer.
I know, but that was the Kremlin's demand.
Demand? You mean it wasn't just a request? What's it to us if the Khrushchev regime is threatened by the Colonel and his faction?
If supporting the current regime helps us avoid a nuclear exchange, then that's what we'll do.
And what are the CIA's demands?
Our priorities are the rescue of Sokolov and the destruction of the Shagohod.
Roger that, Major Tom.
Hold on, Snake.
What now?
I'm changing my codename. It turns out Tom wasn't the most auspicious choice.
What do you mean?
Well, the truth is, when I chose my codename, I picked the wrong one.
The wrong one?
Did you ever see the movie The Great Escape? It came out last year.
Oh, must have missed that one.
Anyway, it's based on a true story about prisoners who escaped from a POW camp in Nazi Germany. The prisoners dig 3 tunnels as part of their plan, but the Nazis find 2 of the tunnels before they're finished. The prisoners succeed in escaping by using the last remaining tunnel. The names of those 3 tunnels were Dick, Harry, and Tom.
I get it. You used the name of the tunnel they escaped in as your code name because you thought it would bring you good luck.
Yes, that's exactly right. At least, that was the plan.
But
I got the name wrong. The one they escaped in was Harry. Tom was one of the unlucky tunnels. It was discovered by the Nazis before it was finished. I watched the movie again just to make sure. In fact, I even ordered the actual film from the movie company.
yeah, it doesn't sound like the greatest name to use. So what should I call you?
You know, let's just use Zero, like we've been doing all along.
All right, then. Major Zero it is. We'll start over from square one.
From square 0. My frequency is 140.85. Oh, I almost forgot. Paramedic is with us again on this mission.
Is this her last chance, too?
If we fail, she'll have her medical license revoked. It's more or less the same kind of fate. Her frequency is the same as during the Virtuous mission, 145.73. She'll be recording your mission data as well, just like the last time. That frequency is also the same, 140.96. And there's one more person on your support team. His name is Mr. Sigint. He's an expert on the latest in weapons and equipment technology. You'll be going up against some of the world's most advanced weaponry when you infiltrate the research facility. If you have any questions, just ask him. His frequency is 148.41.
Mr. Sigint. Got it.
Adam, your KGB contact, is waiting for you at the abandoned factory up ahead.
The same factory Sokolov was being held in last week.
Yes, meet up with Adam first. He's cleared the way for you to rescue Sokolov.
How will I know this Adam guy when I see him?
You'll know once you reach the factory. The whole area has been polluted by the fallout from that nuclear blast. No one else would dare come close. The password is, "Who are the Patriots?" and Lali Lule Lo.
Lali Lule Lo. Gotcha.
You've been equipped with a 45 for this mission. Be careful, it's noisy.
I thought standard Fox procedure was procure on-site weapons acquisition.
The circumstances are different this time. You're now on an official mission for the United States government. It would be necessary to make your presence known to a certain extent. To the Khrushchev regime, at the very least. But remember, this is still a sneaking mission. Snake, if you fail this mission, it will mean an all-out nuclear war. Keep that in mind and proceed with extreme caution.
Understood. Commencing Operation Snake Eater.
Snake, your first task is to meet up with Adam, the contact provided by the KGB. The rendezvous point is the abandoned factory to the north of your current position. Head north.
The abandoned factory. That's where I met Sokolov during the Virtuous mission.
Correct, but we can't afford to have the same thing happen this time.
I know.
Like the Virtuous mission, Operation Snake Eater is a solo sneaking mission. There are no units in the field to back you up. Avoid engaging the enemy whenever possible. Your first priority is to remain unseen. Use the camouflage option in the survival viewer and choose your camouflage wisely. Proceed with caution. Unlike the Virtuous mission, this is a night operation. You'll get lost more easily in the dark, but it'll also make your camouflage more effective and make it harder for the enemy to see you. On the other hand, it will also be more difficult for you to see them. You'll also find that different animals are active. Some of these nocturnal animals are poisonous, so stay alert. Paramedic is with us again to provide information on the local plants and animals. Give her a call if there's anything you need to know. Operation Snake Eater is different from the Virtuous mission in that you won't be able to complete it in just a few hours. The time limit set by Khrushchev is 1 week. Within that time, you'll have to rescue Sokolov, defeat Volgin, destroy the Shagohod, and...
I know.
Good. In any event, you'll not be allowed to return until you've accomplished your objectives. Survival in the field will be critical in this mission, and the most important survival technique of all is, of course, finding food. You can get food in the same way you did during the Virtuous mission, by capturing it. The enemy presence in that area is still light. You should try and get as much food as possible while you can. Thanks to last week's nuclear incident, the Soviet Union is now on secondary alert. We're one step away from a nuclear war.
DEFCON 2, huh?
In American parlance, yes. From what Western intelligence has been able to gather, the radical elements in the Soviet command are showing signs of impatience. They say we're on the brink of World War III here. And with Khrushchev's position getting weaker every day, I worry whether he'll be able to hold them back.
1 week.
Yes. America must eliminate the boss by its own hand to prove its innocence. There is no other way to resolve the crisis. Everything rests on your shoulders, Snake. Failure is not an option.
I know. Major, what should I do with this wreck of a drone?
Just leave it there.
Are you sure?
Yes.
But isn't this thing top secret?
Yes, it is. After the U-2 spy plane incident 4 years ago, plans were laid out for future spy missions in Soviet airspace to be carried out by an unmanned craft. That craft was the D-21 spy drone, the basis of the one you came in on. The D-21 is launched from a craft called the M-21. The M-21 itself is a derivative of the A-12, a supersonic long-range spy plane currently being developed as the successor to the U-2. However, for this mission, we used a modified YF-12A, a long-range interceptor version of the A-12. After being released from the mothership, the drone can achieve speeds upwards of Mach 3 at high altitude using its ramjet engine. It can't be shot down by ground-to-air missiles, and it's nearly undetectable by radar. With Selinoyarsk in such a high state of alert after our last escapade, this was the only reliable way to get you in.
This is all top-secret military technology. Are you telling me I'm supposed to just leave it here?
That's right.
Why?
The purpose of Operation Snake Eater is to send an American agent into the field in order to eliminate a defector and traitor, namely the boss. Part of that mission involves making sure the Soviets find out what we're doing.
So we have to leave behind some kind of evidence that the US was involved.
Don't worry. The technologically sensitive components of the craft were rigged to self-destruct when it landed. The only thing the Soviets are going to find is a pile of American-made scrap metal.
Got it. Just one thing, though.
What is it?
I think they'd better redesign the landing impact buffer. People are going to get hurt landing that thing.
I'll let them know.
Major, I appreciate you allowing me to use weapons, but shouldn't I be carrying some rubles?
You mean fake currency?
Right.
Snake, do you remember the Francis Gary Powers incident back in 1960?
Powers was flying a U-2 on a spy mission for the CIA in Soviet airspace. He was shot down and taken prisoner.
His confession brought to light the fact that the CIA was spying in Soviet airspace. As a result, the US-Soviet summit scheduled for 2 weeks later was cancelled.
Yeah, I remember.
U-2 pilots are required to carry items that mask their identity. Powers was carrying ruble, mark and lira coins, as well as French gold coins. He was also carrying 2 gold watches and 7 women's rings. All of these objects were meant to conceal his national origins. But for this mission, we've got to demonstrate to the Khrushchev regime that America is involved. There's no need to conceal your origins. And besides, all you need to do is complete your mission. As long as you're not captured or killed, the details will take care of themselves.
Okay.
The Soviet intelligence community must be up in arms about the boss's defection. The great Voyevoda has abandoned America and embraced the Soviet Union.
Voyevoda?
Apparently, that's what they call the boss behind the Iron Curtain. It means warrior or mighty soldier in Russian. When used to refer to a woman, it means something close to Lady Knight. In Russia, where they've had a number of female emperors throughout their history, it's a term of great respect. Well, poetic in a way. The boss's exploits have made her name famous in the East as well.
Major, why did the boss defect?
I don't know, but I will tell you this. America is all too eager to get rid of her.
What do you mean?
She knows too many of our secrets. If she were to relay all the top-secret information she knows to the Soviet bloc, it would put us at a severe disadvantage. It might even lead to the downfall of the West. Even if we survive, the boss is still too much of a hero to us. With her in the Soviet camp, we'd suffer a fatal loss of morale at home. There are even whispers that some of the less stalwart elements of the military might follow her example and defect themselves. I assume you're aware that since your last mission, several key figures within the CIA have been placed under house arrest.
Yeah.
The loss of the boss has been a painful one indeed.
What about you?
Me? I still can't believe it. As a comrade, I would have placed my trust in her before my own family. But now that I think about it, the boss always seemed to have an aura of mystery about her. I never would have expected it to manifest in this way, though. Oh, well, it won't do to get all misty-eyed about it. She's an enemy now, worthy of nothing more than our contempt.
Understood. Major, tell me a little bit more about the space race.
In 1957, the Soviet Union succeeded in launching their first artificial satellite, Sputnik, into orbit. Having been beaten to the chase by the Soviets, the US government accelerated its own space program in an effort to catch up. The following year, the space development programs of the various service branches were united to form the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA. That same year, the Mercury program was launched with the goal of putting a man into space. 7 candidates were chosen from the military as the first astronauts. These were the men with the right stuff. But as you know, it was a Soviet cosmonaut, Yuri Gagarin, who made the first successful manned spaceflight 3 years ago. NASA's first successful ballistic flight came 1 month after Gagarin's mission, with the Freedom 7 carrying Alan Shepard into space. After that, with America still lagging behind the Soviets in orbital flight, President Kennedy made a momentous decision. That America would put a man on the moon before the end of the decade.
Yeah, I heard that speech. But a lot of guys I knew weren't real happy about it. They said no one was gonna make them go on a mission to blow up some damn moon base.
But rocket research and missile research are closely related. Imagine, if you will, a Soviet Union able to send wave after wave of nuclear missiles raining down on Washington from a base on the surface of the moon. Even if that's still a long way from reality, if we lose the initiative, we may never get it back. We're left with no choice but to keep moving forward one step at a time. The Gemini program, launched 2 years ago, represents the initial step towards establishing a moon base. And yet, I don't want to call President Kennedy a liar, but I simply can't imagine that in 6 years man will have reached the moon.
I don't know. I never even thought we'd make it up into space. I guess it all depends on whether you have the will to make it happen.
Perhaps you're right. Snake, let's go over the controls for CQC one more time. Press the CQC button once to throw a punch. Press it repeatedly to launch a combo attack. CQC doesn't really start to shine, however, until you grab an enemy. Press and hold the CQC button to extend your right hand and grab the enemy. Move the left stick at the same time and you can knock the enemy to the ground. If you don't move the left stick, you can get behind the enemy and hold him prisoner. When you're holding an enemy from behind, he'll be almost completely helpless. From there are a number of things you can do. By double-clicking the left stick button, you can slit his throat using your knife. By moving the left stick along with the CQC button, you can knock him to the ground. You can also choke the enemy by tapping the CQC button rapidly. You can either render him unconscious or kill him outright. It's up to you. If you keep the CQC button pressed, you can use the left stick to move around with the enemy in your grip. You can also press the weapon button to use the weapon you have equipped. The enemy will be hesitant to attack as long as you're using one of their comrades as a human shield. Use that moment of hesitation to attack in first-person view. By pressing the left stick button, you can interrogate the enemy. You might be surprised at the things you can learn. But stay alert. While the enemy is nearly helpless in your grasp, if you give him a chance, he'll turn the tables on you. You can only grab an enemy using CQC when you're using a weapon that will allow you to reach out with your right hand, such as the survival knife, a handgun, or your bare hands. You can't grab the enemy when using weapons that take both hands to use, such as assault rifles, or that prevent you from controlling the enemy with your right hand, like hand grenades. In short, you can't use CQC when equipped with assault rifles or hand grenades. You can tell whether a weapon is compatible with CQC or not by looking at its icon. Snake, camouflage and face paint alone won't make you blend in completely. In addition to the camouflage itself, your physical position is a crucial dynamic you should keep in mind. Snake, making it harder for the enemy to spot you isn't the only advantage to maintaining a high camo index. The harder you are to distinguish from your surroundings, the harder you are to hit. In other words, the enemy's shots will miss more often. Do everything you can to keep your camo index high at all times.
Paramedic.
Snake, it's so good to hear from you again.
Same here. It's been a week, hasn't it?
4 days, actually.
Huh?
I visited you in the hospital. You were still unconscious, though.
Then you must have seen me naked.
Yeah, but you were all wrapped up in bandages and tubes, so I couldn't do anything but look.
Better luck next time.
Let's hope so. But seriously, don't forget that you were like that until just yesterday. In fact, you really shouldn't even be on this mission. Keep an eye on your stamina gauge. If you start to run low, don't push yourself. Eat something to replenish your stamina. And try not to get yourself hurt. If you're wounded or get bitten by a venomous animal, go into the survival viewer immediately and treat yourself using Cure.
Yeah. I can see you still know how to nag.
You're welcome. And I can see you still don't know when to keep your mouth shut.
Maybe so. By the way, I heard you're going to lose your medical license if this mission fails.
Yes, there was talk of that, but the mission won't fail, will it?
Of course not.
Good. I believe in you. But you know what? I really don't care about my medical license.
Didn't they use that to force you to participate in this operation?
No, I volunteered.
Why?
So that I could watch over you.
Huh.
Snake, you're the best agent I've ever seen. But you push yourself too hard. You're reckless. Someone has to stop you from getting into trouble, to make sure you and the boss don't kill each other. So that's why I volunteered. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better guardian angel than me, right?
Thanks.
Stop right there.
Huh?
You can thank me when you get back.
All right.
Snake, unlike the Virtuous Mission, this is a night operation. You'll be encountering nocturnal animals that you didn't encounter your last mission. Some of them are venomous, like the king cobra, so be careful. If you get bitten by a venomous animal, the poison will spread through your body and rapidly drain your life gauge. If that's the case, go into the cure screen and survival viewer immediately and inject yourself with serum. Got it? Snake, that's the home to the Otten frog. The Otten frog is a large, corpulent species of frog. They're known as a delicacy, so it might be worth catching them for food. The Otten frog was originally found only on Amami Oshima in Japan. Frogs usually have 4 toes on their front legs, but the Otten frog is unique in that it has 5.
Got it. By the way, you said they were known as a delicacy, right?
Right.
So that means they must taste pretty good, huh?
I guess so. I hear that in Japan, Otten frog sashimi and sukiyaki are popular dishes.
Really?
Yeah.
Japan, huh? That place is starting to sound better and better.
Snake, that area is inhabited by the Japanese flying squirrel. Japanese flying squirrels are non-venomous, and they shouldn't attack you. The head, front legs, hind legs, and tail of the Japanese flying squirrel are connected by a membrane of skin, which allows the squirrel to glide from tree to tree. It says here that if it catches a good wind, it can fly more than 100 yards.
Sounds like it's going to be tough to catch one.
So, aren't you going to ask me?
You know it. How does it taste?
Not sure.
Not sure?
The guy doesn't say anything about it.
Why not?
Gee, maybe it's because no one would ever think of eating a flying squirrel.
Then I must be the first one.
Maybe you are. Snake, unlike the Virtuous Mission, this is a night operation. You'll be encountering... There should be a mushroom called the Bicol scaly-tooth growing in that area. The Bicol scaly-tooth mushroom is used as an antidote to poison. It usually grows on the trunks of trees, so look for it there.
How does it taste?
I think you're going to be disappointed.
Damn.
Oh, quit your whining. You know what they say, good medicine tastes bitter. You can capture animals alive by using the tranquilizer gun or a mousetrap. When you capture a live animal, you can carry it on you as a weapon by going to backpack in the survival viewer. Once an animal is on your person, equip it and press the weapon button to throw it. Throwing a venomous animal at an enemy might be enough to knock him out. Even non-venomous animals like frogs can be used to distract the enemy's attention. And since I know you're going to ask me, yes, keeping animals alive prevents them from rotting and makes them taste better when you eat them. Remember, though, you've only got 3 cages for capturing live animals. You'll find a fruit called the Yabloko Maloko growing in that area.
Yablo, what now?
Yabloko Maloko. It's a Russian name that roughly translates as milk apple. It's a type of star apple. The juice is thick and sweet, like milk, hence the name. And if you cut one in half lengthwise, you'll see a star-shaped ring radiating out from the center.
Hence the star apple.
Right. The star-shaped part has a gelatinous texture and is said to be especially tasty.
Sounds useful.
You're welcome.
For once.
Did you say something?
No, back to the mission.
Snake, unlike... Treating serious wounds will require you to use additional medical items besides your knife and cigar. That's why it's always a good idea to carry as many medical items with you as possible. If you start to run out of medical items, find some more as soon as you can. The enemy should be carrying medical supplies as well. You can get them by holding up enemy soldiers and shaking down their bodies. There should be an herb called Chinese plantain growing in that area. The Chinese plantain is an herb that resembles a plantain root. The leaves and seeds contain large amounts of aucubin, choline, and tannin. When you mash it up and apply it to a wound, it helps stop the flow of blood and eases the pain a bit. The Chinese plantain becomes a styptic when you pick it up. If you see one, don't forget to take it with you. Snake, I think there's a plant called Slav horehound growing in that area. Slav horehound is an herb in the horehound family. It contains large amounts of diterpene, flavonoids, and alkaloids, which give it strong germicidal properties. If you find one, it should make a good disinfectant. You should be able to find ezocomfrey in that area. Ezocomfrey is a plant in the comfrey family that's found only in Selinoyarsk. If you find one, you can use it as a cast to treat broken bones.
How can a plant be turned into a splint?
The roots of the ezocomfrey are extremely sticky. You can use them as a kind of plaster cast to fasten the affected area in place.
I get it.
Snake, be careful when you approach the enemy. The closer you are to them, the more accurate their shots will be, and the more damage their weapons will do. That means you've got a greater chance of getting seriously wounded. Daring frontal assaults are not a good idea. But if you do get seriously injured, go into the survival viewer and treat it immediately. There's an herb called the Amur kudzu growing in that area. Amur kudzu is a member of the bean family and a close relative of the kudzu weed. The roots contain a number of isoflavones such as daidzein, which give it strong fever-reducing properties. It'll make a good cold medicine if you find some. That area is home to the reticulated python. The reticulated python is said to be the longest snake in the world. It's not venomous, but it still poses a threat, so watch out. Some types of food spoil faster than others. Animal and fish meat goes bad relatively fast, but plants and mushrooms generally last a little longer. Animals won't go bad if you capture them alive, though. You can tell whether food has gone bad or not by looking closely at the icon on the food screen in the survival viewer. So be sure to check the icon before you eat the food. If you eat spoiled food, you'll get sick and end up with a stomachache. It'll get better eventually if you leave it alone, but that means you'll throw up and lose a lot of stamina. If you get a stomachache, go to Cure in the survival viewer and take some digestive medicine. Digestive medicine and antidotes aren't the only ways to cure stomach aches and food poisoning. You can also induce vomiting. Go into the survival viewer and press the viewer button to enter viewer mode. Then rotate the right stick to spin your body around, and eventually you'll start feeling queasy. When you get dizzy enough, exit the survival viewer and you'll throw up. That should get rid of any stomach ache and food poisoning you have. Give it a try. Snake, if you or one of your comrades is wounded in battle, what do you usually do?
I call for a medic.
What if there's no medic nearby?
I don't even want to think about that.
Think about it.
That's my worst nightmare. Any soldier can perform basic first aid, but it takes a specialist to perform the more complicated procedures. I know a lot of guys who'd still be alive today if they'd had access to a medic.
Me too. So I got to thinking, wouldn't it be great if we could parachute medics into the front lines where they're needed most?
You bet. That's why you're called paramedic.
Yeah. With a unit like that, we could save a couple of lives, huh?
No.
No?
Not a couple. We could save many lives.
Thanks. I think the Army needs a unit like that. And if no one else will do it, I'm going to create one myself.
Sounds like a plan.
Will you help me?
Count on it.
Snake, do you know what epinephrine is?
What's with the questions?
Well, do you?
No.
Also known as adrenaline?
Never heard of it.
Really?
Nope.
I have.
Good for you.
Do you want to hear about it?
Not really.
Oh, I think you should hear about it.
Here we go.
So, epinephrine is a type of hormone. It's secreted from the adrenal glands in high-stress situations, like when you're exercising or you're under pressure. The epinephrine is released into the bloodstream and stimulates special receptor cells on various organs throughout the body. This causes the heart to beat faster, the blood vessels to constrict, and the respiratory passages to expand. It also raises blood pressure. You ever notice how you're faster and stronger than normal when you're under stress? That's because of epinephrine, and when you're bleeding, it...
Paramedic.
Yeah.
Is there a point to all of this?
Of course. In the alert phase, your body secretes epinephrine, and so your stamina won't be depleted as fast.
Uh-huh.
There. Good thing I told you, huh?
As always.
Snake, unlike... You should be able to find Russian oyster mushrooms in that area. The Russian oyster mushroom is an edible variety that belongs to the shimeji family. It's known to be particularly rich in vitamin B1 and niacin. Apparently, it's usually found growing on tree stumps and hollow logs, so look there if you want to eat some. You should be able to find Siberian inkcap mushrooms growing in that area. The Siberian inkcap is a mushroom in the inkcap family. It's known to be edible, so keep an eye out for it. There's an herb called the Amur kudzu growing in that area. Amur kudzu is a... That area is... If you have any questions about stamina or healing, just ask me. I'll tell you everything you need to know. It'll have to be over the radio, though.
So you won't be able to see me naked, then?
Yeah, I'm devastated. But I'll bet that 50 years from now, you'll be able to see who you're talking to on the radio.
I'll be retired from active duty by then.
I don't know. Somebody somewhere might just decide to give you a call.
Wouldn't surprise me. Let's both pray that never happens.
Eat food to... There should be an herb called...
Yo! You're Snake, aren't you?
And you're Sigint?
None other.
I heard that you're an expert on weapons, equipment, and cutting-edge technology.
Close.
Huh?
I am the expert on weapons, equipment, and cutting-edge technology.
Ah.
I'm the guy that designed your trank gun, active sonar, and motion detector. If you want to know anything about weapons or equipment you find in the field, just send me a message and ask. Later. Sounds like the Cobra unit's members' names came from the specific emotions they each carry into battle.
Emotions?
Yeah. For unbearable torment, the pain. For true oblivion, the end. For infinite rage, the fury. For absolute terror, the fear. And for unsurpassed bliss, the joy.
The joy?
It's another name for the boss, because of the joy she feels in battle, I suppose.
Ah.
During the war, she had a partner named the Sorrow. Sorrow and joy. They say there couldn't have been a more perfect pair. The Davy Crockett's that the boss took with her when she defected are mortars that fire nuclear warheads. They're named after Davy Crockett, the hero who died defending the Alamo in the Texan War of Independence.
Remember the Alamo.
That's right. The warheads are equivalent to between 10 and 20 tons of TNT. Every building within 150 yards of the hypocenter is completely obliterated. But the warheads the boss had with her were some kind of experimental super bomb. So they're actually even more powerful than that. I don't even want to think about what happened if she used it again. Snake, you know what you have to do.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, you've got an M1911A1.
Yeah, a 45. 50 years since the Army adopted the first model, and they're still using them. It's a real gem of an automatic pistol.
But aren't you gonna need more than just one little handgun?
Not at all. When you're in a tight spot or fighting in close quarters, sometimes a handgun works better than a rifle. And if I equip a knife at the same time, I can instantaneously switch over to hand-to-hand combat.
I see.
And that's lesson number 1, why I prefer pistols. Just keep it in mind.
You're wearing the tiger stripe pattern camouflage, huh? Tiger stripe is a forest camouflage. As you may have guessed by the name, it mimics the stripe pattern on a tiger's coat. It was originally worn by South Vietnamese Marines. Then it caught the attention of an American military advisor, and now they're thinking of introducing it into all kinds of special forces units. It works best in places with lots of trees and grass, but it should blend in with dirt and mud, too.
Snake? Snake, I think there's a plant called Slav horehound growing in that area. Slav horehound.
You just heard a horse?
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't something else?
I know a horse when I hear one.
Paramedic, are there any wild horses in Selino-Yask?
Do you really expect me to say yes?
No.
So what should I do?
There's only one way through that area. All you can do is move forward. Head towards the sound of that horse. It came from the north. Be careful.
I see you caught yourself a green tree python. The green tree python isn't venomous, so no need to worry. It's fairly docile too, so I don't think it's likely to attack you. The green tree python originally comes from Australia and New Zealand. It's a really pretty green color, and it lives... Oh my god.
What's wrong?
Snake, what did I just say?
They come from Australia and New Zealand.
No, after that.
They're a really pretty green color.
I thought so. What was I thinking? Seeing a snake and calling it pretty?
What's wrong with that?
Everything. When a normal woman sees a snake, she's supposed to scream or get sick or something like that.
And you think you're normal?
What was that?
Nothing.
Oh, it's all your fault.
Jeez, I'm sorry. But enough of that.
What do you mean, enough of that? This is serious.
No, I just wanted you to tell me how it tastes.
How should I know?
Ugh.
It was awfully pretty, though. Snake, whatever happens to you, make sure you leave a descendant, okay?
Are you saying you want to have my baby?
No. I'm saying that in the 21st century, the genes of soldiers like you are going to be in high demand.
Genes?
Uh-huh. Remember when Watson and Crick discovered the double helix structure of DNA back in 1953?
No.
You know, they won the Nobel Prize in Medicine for it the year before last. Of course, you have to feel sorry for Pauling and Franklin. They were researching the exact same thing.
Sorry, I don't follow.
Inside every living creature are little blueprints called genes. Through the union of the sperm and egg cells, these blueprints are transformed and inherited by the next generation. That's why parents and children resemble each other. The concept of genes was first proposed over 100 years ago by Mendel, but he didn't know what they were exactly. For a while, it was thought that chromosomes were composed not of deoxyribonucleic acid, but of proteins called polypeptides. Later, it was shown that deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA, was a biological macromolecule. Then 11 years ago, Watson and Crick discovered that DNA had a double helix structure.
Yeah, this is all fascinating stuff, but what exactly does it have to do with me?
The inherent characteristics of any given individual are determined by his or her genes. By duplicating a set of superior genes, a separate body with the same set of characteristics, a clone, can be created.
But genes don't control a person's fate.
That's true, but having an offspring that's genetically identical to the parent is more efficient, right? You can expect better results that way.
More efficient? You can't mass-produce human beings.
Maybe, but now that we know the true nature of genes, human cloning is that much closer to reality. Nuclear transplanting is already theoretically possible, so one day...
My genes are going to be a valuable commodity.
Exactly.
They'd never let that happen.
Just think, even if your body dies, you survive and go on to bigger and better accomplishments. If you think about it, it's kind of an honor.
Does that kind of technology seriously appeal to you?
Well, I am a doctor. I can't condone it on moral grounds, but I'm fascinated by the possibilities. Especially when I see such an excellent specimen as yourself.
Yeah, well, thanks for the compliment, but it doesn't make me feel any better.
Don't be so glum. It's not like it's going to happen anytime soon. We'll just have to wait and see. When you're bitten by a venom, you can capture animals. Snake, king cobras are making their home in the area you're in now. The king cobra is the world's largest venomous snake. Its large size means that it has a lot of venom to inject. One bite is supposedly enough to kill an elephant. And it's extremely vicious as well, so watch out. If you get bitten by a king cobra and injected with venom, your life will start to decrease rapidly. As soon as you're bitten, go into the survival viewer and use Cure to give yourself a serum injection. The king cobra's diet consists mostly of other snakes. Be careful, or you might end up as its next meal.
Got it. So...
What? How does it taste?
Yep.
Ugh. It seems you're the one whose diet consists of other snakes.
You're making me blush.
The guide says they taste just fine. Ugh.
This will be a lot of information to take because whatever creatures or whatever items I find, I'm gonna need information on them. Keep it in mind.
Snake, there's a fruit called the galova growing in that area.
Galova?
Yeah, it's a fruit that's found only in that region. It's related to the jackfruit, which is commonly found in Southeast Asia.
Jackfruit, huh?
Yep, he's a cannibal.
Huh?
I didn't say anything.
No, I'm sure you...
I said, I'm sure you'd like it.
Oh.
Galova means head in Russian. It's probably called that because the fruit grows to about the size of a human head. It's supposedly pretty good to eat with a uniquely sweet flavor. The fruit itself is fairly large, so you could make a meal out of it. Galovas grow directly off the trunk of the tree. If you're running low on stamina, it might be a good idea to keep an eye on the tree trunks. Snake, that area is inhabited by the giant anaconda. The giant anaconda is said to be the largest snake in the world in terms of weight and thickness. It's not venomous, but its huge size makes it dangerous. Be careful. The gauge below... Snake, be careful when... To take a rest, all you have to do is save and exit the game. The next time you load your saved data and continue the game, your stamina and life will have recovered. How much they recover depends on how long of a rest you take. That area is home. When you get shot, you'll sometimes suffer a gunshot wound. The chance of suffering a serious injury is especially high at close range. When you have a gunshot wound, your maximum life will decrease depending on its severity. Gunshot wounds will heal naturally over time, but if you want it to heal faster, go into Cure in the survival viewer and treat it. To treat a gunshot wound, you need to dig out the bullet with your knife, disinfect the wound, and apply styptic, then wrap it in a bandage. When all that's finished, the gunshot wound will be fully healed. Snake, that area is inhabited by the green tree python. Snake, that... Burns happen when you're engulfed in flames or get caught in an explosion. When you've got a burn, your maximum life will go down depending on its severity. Burns heal naturally over time without you doing anything, but if you go into Cure in the survival viewer and treat the burn, you can heal it instantaneously. To treat the burn, lightly spread the ointment over the wound and wrap it in bandages. If you do both of these things, you can heal the burn altogether. Snake, that area should be in... Snake, unlike the... Snake, that area is inhabited by magpies. Magpies are dark blue and white birds with long tails that belong to the crow family. You should be able to capture them alive using the tranquilizer gun. That area is home to the Sunda whistling thrush. The Sunda whistling thrush is a bird native to Java and Sumatra. It's distinguished by its large blue body and long beak. It really stands out in the forest. You should be able to find Siberia. Snake, I looked at your medical record. You've been exposed to an atomic blast?
Yeah, the Bravo shot. It was a hydrogen bomb test conducted at Bikini Atoll on March 1st, 1954. I was at the American base on Kwajalein in the Marshall Islands when the ashes of death started falling from the sky.
Any symptoms?
None. At least, not yet. But a lot of the guys who were in it with me are now suffering from thyroid cancer and leukemia. Some of them are dead already. One of these days. Anyway, I'd better get back to the mission.
Yeah. Eat food to You'll find a fruit called the snake. To eat food, press the start button to enter the survival viewer, then select food. Select the food you want to eat and press the enter button. Select eat and you will eat the selected food. When you eat, you will recover your stamina, but the extent of recovery depends on what you eat. When your stamina is down only slightly, you should save your tastier morsels for later. But don't leave food for too long or it'll rot. This is where a little planning ahead goes a long way. The gauge below... Snake. Snake, that...
Snake, your first task is to meet up with Adam, the contact provided by the KGB. The rendezvous point is the abandoned factory to the north of your current position. Head north.
Looks like death wasn't ready for you yet.
Boss.
That arm still hurt?
What are you doing here?
Go home. Go home. Gru and my sons are waiting up ahead. You don't have a prayer of finishing your mission. You're not even armed.
Boss!
I'm not your boss anymore. There's nothing for you here. Go home. Go back to your boss. There's no need to prove that you are virtuous here. This isn't America. That should stir things up a bit. You'd better hurry. The border is 60 miles south of here. You ought to be able to run that far.
Why'd you defect?
I didn't. I'm loyal to the end, to my purpose. What about you, Jack? What's it going to be? Loyalty to your country or loyalty to me? Your country or your old mentor? The mission or your beliefs? Your duty to your unit or your personal feelings? You don't know the truth yet. But sooner or later, you'll have to choose. I don't expect you to forgive me. But you can't defeat me either. You know me too well. Just look at that bandana. If you can't put the past behind you, you won't survive long. If we meet again, I'll kill you. Now, go home.
This is Snake. Major Zero.
I read you, Snake.
I was ambushed by the boss.
You were what?
The drone's been shot to hell. It's up in flames.
That's not good. Enemy scouts are going to come looking for you.
Yeah, I know. But what was the boss doing here in the first place? There's got to be a leak somewhere.
No, that's impossible. The man the boss is working with, Volgin, isn't exactly on speaking terms with Khrushchev.
I lost my gun. The boss destroyed it.
Snake, I know how you're feeling. It's hard for me to believe, too, that a legendary hero like the boss would go over to the Russians. That she'd double-cross us like this. But that's how it is, and if you don't accept it, you'll never be able to beat her.
That's not the problem. In terms of sheer technique, I'll never be able to beat her. I know that all too well.
You've got to do it, Snake. She's your enemy and your objective.
Enemy? We were together for 10 years, and now you tell me she's my enemy?
Enough. Hurry to the factory where Adam is waiting. Scouts have probably already been sent out to investigate the explosion. You've lost your weapon, right? That means you've got no chance of winning in a battle situation. Whatever you do, don't let them see you.
What's this?
HQ?
Huh?
What's going on? Respond. There's something wrong. Support unit, confirm their status.
Who's that?
This is HQ.
Control here.
This is HQ.
Control here.
Acknowledged. Eliminate all enemies. This is HQ.
Patrol here. We've lost sight of the intruder, going into high alert.
Acknowledged. The enemy is still nearby. Pursue and engage him.
You've arrived at the factory, I see.
Yeah, now to meet up with this Adam guy.
Good. Go to it.
So, where is he?
We weren't given an exact location.
How about a time?
Nothing was specified.
A physical description?
I'm not sure.
How am I supposed to find him, then?
You won't need to.
Huh?
He'll find you. Why don't you try the room to the northeast where you met Sokolov? Adam might be in there.
Snake, there are rats living in that area. The rats in that area are the descendants of wild Norway rats that were domesticated by humans as pets and lab animals. They're not poisonous, and I don't think they'll attack you, but they're quick little creatures, so you might have a hard time catching one.
Uh-huh. So how do they taste?
Snake?
What?
They're rats.
I know what they are. Do they taste okay?
The guide says they're not that bad.
Good enough for me.
Ugh. Cuts happen when you get... That area... You'll suffer both... The gauge... Snake... That area... To eat... That area... That area. Food poison. You'll catch a cold if you hang around too long without any clothes on. To take a treating. You'll get a stomach. That is. Leech. Snake. There are rats living in. Snake. Treating. That. When you. That area. The gauge. Food poisoning is. Snake. When you. You'll. Snake. Snake, be careful when you. Snake. That area is home. That area. Snake. Snake, there are. Snake. Snake. The gauge. You'll. Snake. You should be. Some types of. You'll find. Snake. Snake, be careful. You'll find. Snake. You'll find a. The gauge. You'll find. You'll find. Snake. Snake. You'll get it. To eat. Snake, be careful. You'll find. You'll find a. You should be. You'll find a.
The only reason why I keep doing this is because sometimes they have secret information and you have to keep doing this over and over. I'm just gonna keep doing this maybe like 10 or 20 times until, because I'm pretty sure she has something hidden, or maybe not. Who knows? Just hold on.
You'll find you can capture animals a lot. The gate. Snake. You'll eat. Snake. Snake, be careful. Snake. Snake, you will encounter Baltic hornet's nest. You can catch some types of foods. Snake. Treating serious. You'll find snake. Snake. You'll find treating serious. To take the gate. You'll find when you get shot. Snake. You'll find when you'll catch a cold if treating serious wounds will require you to snake. The gate. You'll find
Can't complain.
Sorry I'm late.
Cut the engine. They'll hear us.
Are you the agent they sent?
Are you Adam? I thought you were supposed to be a man.
Adam couldn't make it.
All right, say the password. Who are the Patriots? Who are the Patriots? Answer me! Trapped.
Get down! There is your answer. The name's Eva.
This wasn't part of the plan. What happened to Adam?
What's your code name?
It's Snake.
Snake, huh? Well, I'm Eva. Are you here to tempt me?
What happened to Adam?
Colonel Volgan is a very suspicious man. He decided Adam wasn't the right person for this mission.
And you were?
Yes.
Why?
Because I can do things he can't.
I heard you used to be a codebreaker for the NSA.
I was. 4 years ago, I defected to the Soviet Union with Adam.
Mauser military. The broom handle.
It packs quite a punch. Nice to have when you're on a bike.
You held it sideways and used the muzzle jump to create a horizontal sweep. That was impressive.
Bet you've never seen that technique in the West.
It's imitation, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a Chinese Type 17 pistol. Around here, even that's hard to come by. Don't worry, though. The one I've got for you is American-made.
.45, huh? Incredible.
Do you like it?
The feeding ramp is polished to a mirror sheen. The slide's been reinforced, and the interlock with the frame is tightened for added precision. The sight system is original too. The thumb safety is extended to make it easier on the finger. A long type trigger with non-slip grooves. A ring hammer. The base of the trigger guard's been filed down for a higher grip. And not only that, nearly every part of this gun has been expertly crafted and customized. Where'd you get something like this?
I grabbed it from a Western munitions armory. It probably used to belong to one of your officers, and there are more where that came from. You had this with you, didn't you? Better take this too.
What's that?
A disguise to make you look like a scientist.
A disguise?
Yes. You're here to rescue Sokolov, right?
Sokolov's still safe then?
Yes. He's being forced to continue his work on the Shagohod.
Where?
At the lab. They've got a whole army of scientists there developing new weapons. Security is tight, but if you disguise yourself as a scientist, you might be able to sneak in.
Can we get Sokolov out of there?
We'll see, won't we?
Tell me how to get to the lab.
The safest way in is from the rear. First, you'll need to head north through the jungle. You'll come to a heliport used for shipping materials. Pass the heliport and continue north, and there will be a large crevice. Descend into that area and you'll reach a cave. Move through the cave and you will arrive at a mangrove swamp. After the swamp, there'll be a warehouse. Make your way through the warehouse and you'll come out just south of the lab.
Got it.
And just what are you doing there?
In close-range combat, a knife can sometimes be more useful than a gun. By doing this, I'll be able to hold a knife at the same time and still keep the gun steady. That way, I can instantly switch between a gun battle and a knife fight. Right, let's get going.
Wait a minute.
What now?
You must be tired. Why don't you take a little rest?
I'll be fine.
You'll never make it in your condition. It's a jungle out there. There's still an hour before dawn. It's dangerous to be out in the jungle at night without a guide.
What about you?
I have to get back. I can't be gone for too long. They'll start to suspect something. Don't worry. I'll keep you updated over the radio.
That's it?
My orders are to provide you with information, nothing more. You look disappointed. All right, then. I'll do something special for you. I'll stand watch until dawn. Now be a good boy and lie down. What's the matter?
I don't know you well enough to trust you.
How well do you have to know me to trust me?
I don't know if I can trust anybody.
Gonna get that?
She's right, Snake. You should get some sleep. Although in your condition, you really ought to be back in the ICU. Whenever you save the game and quit, you'll go to sleep. Sleeping allows you to gain back stamina naturally. Depending on how long you sleep, you may also recover naturally from sickness and injury. When you're tired or hurt, the best thing to do is just get some sleep. So do yourself a favor and take a nap. Doctor's orders, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Well, you heard her. But in the meantime, I know I didn't do much, but I used the radio a lot, and there was a lot of information. I'm pretty sure you guys thought it was boring, but trust me, all that information was serious and good intel. That's exactly how I trained myself. But still, you don't have to believe me. But that is exactly how my training all started with this game. You don't have to believe me. And it also helped me become more intelligent. Let's just leave it at that. But for the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe. So peace out, stay safe, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Peace.